This is quite a small field, but it's very well established with sorrel. So here's a big sorrel leaf. Once you find these, you'll find literally patches of them everywhere. So they have a very distinct leaf shape. So can you see at the bottom, they've got two little tails. It's like the bottom of a waistcoat. That's the way I like to remember it. And at this time of year, they're actually coming into flower. So they have these little red flower tops here. Some of them are really tall. From a distance, they look like a type of grass, but if you trail the stem down, you'll see the little leaves coming off. So yeah, it's a bit late in the season for them if they're starting to go into flower, but you might still find some little fresh patches of leaves, like down here. There's a much rounder one I just found on the right-hand side. So as you can see, they vary in shape quite a lot. So in terms of the leaf shape, the only lookalike for this really is the lords and ladies, or the cuckoo pint leaf. But those leaves are quite a bit bigger. You're only going to confuse them when they are much smaller. And by this time of the year, the cuckoo pint leaves are very big. And if you can find the flowering tops here, then you'll be able to distinguish the two plants much more easily. But yeah, apart from that, you can't really mistake these for much else. I mean, they can show sort of patchy reddish purplish bits, and so you might confuse them for small dock leaves. But just look for the little tails at the base of the leaf, and then you know what you've got. Sorry, it's a bit dim in here, but I just came into this little patch of woodland to show you the sorrel leaf next to the cuckoo pint leaf. So here's one here, and I've just decided that I'm going to say cuckoo pint from now on, because lords and ladies is a really annoying mouthful. Like, I hate saying it. So yeah, I think cuckoo pint is the northern or more old-fashioned nickname for this plant. But yeah, we're going with that. So here's that leaf. Much bigger, as you can see. But the reason it's considered a potential look-alike is because of the tails. There's the little tails on the end of the wee sorrel leaf. Here's the tails on the cuckoo pint leaf. This one's a lot more veiny too. This one's got little veins, but these ones are a lot more prominent. Personally, I don't think they look alike at all, but that's just something I thought I'd make you aware of. If you don't like sour stuff, then don't try these leaves. Well, actually just try them anyway for the experience. It's like very citrusy, sour, apple peel kind of flavour. And it is quite nice. It's just the initial reaction is like, pfft. But they do make a nice little addition to a salad. You just pop a few in and it's just like, you get little bursts of crazy flavour. This little tree plantation is actually part of a National Trust site, so I don't encourage foraging from places like this because obviously they're protected and looked after, and you wouldn't want to get caught doing that here. Whilst it is abundant and plentiful of plants, yeah, just be respectful. There's a lot of surrounding countryside here and hedgerows, and that's where I would collect things from, just not here. But I couldn't help notice at how many buttercups there are. Look at them all. I think a lot of people don't know that buttercups are considered poisonous. So when they're fresh, they contain active properties that are an irritant to humans and animals. So you could get skin rashes. If you ingest them, you could get blisters and then all kinds of gastrointestinal problems. So I just thought I'd let you know that. That's what the leaves look like. We all know what the flowers look like because when we were kids we used to hold them up to each other's faces. I would have thought there's some curious kids out there that have eaten some of these when they were younger. Be interesting to hear if you did, if you had got any kind of ill effects from them. The red campion flower is in full bloom and it is stunning. The leaves and flowers are edible. It's not something I forage or have ever foraged. It's just something I admire. The roots are not edible, but you can in fact make a soap or like washing detergent out of them, like you can do with ivy leaves, because they contain saponin. And that is the reason that you wouldn't eat them, because you can't ingest saponin it is mildly toxic. So they don't have a fragrance. They're not a very fragrant flower, unless that's just because I've got a really runny nose from the pollen. But yeah, no smell. But they were used back in the olden days, I don't know what accent that was, to make wine. And I'm pretty sure there were some other ingredients involved. Otherwise it wouldn't have tasted of much. I just found my first edible mushroom of the 2025 season. This is a young dryad saddle or pheasant back mushroom, and it's the largest capped mushroom in the UK, I believe. So they can grow absolutely massive, and they're so heavy they just fall off of the tree. And they're a pretty decent edible as well. I already said that this is a young one, but it's a really chunky young one. Look at that. I just chopped it off because it's actually really tough to pull off. You don't need to chop things off necessarily, you can just pull things off, but that was really hard to pull, like that wasn't going to come off, and it's a little bit gross towards the base, so yeah, I just trimmed it back a bit more actually to make it a bit more discreet, and that bit can go in the bush. Oh my god, look at it, I'm so proud of that, I'm so happy. I haven't been able to find anything decent so far, and I've been so jealous of seeing people finding morels and St George's, even though I don't really like St George's that much. It's just an exciting thing to find. This is a pretty common mushroom in my area if you know what to look for. So they grow on dying or dead deciduous trees, especially elm and beech. And once they get going, there will be quite a few growing. So they'll be growing all over like a dead log, for example. So they're pretty abundant once you find them. And the main reason I'm excited is because I never find them in their young and fresh stage. So they'll just pop up out of nowhere and they grow really quickly. So I've always caught them when they're too old and tough. So this is a perfect example to show you. This is a really distinctive mushroom. So like I mentioned, they can grow humongous, but this is a baby one. You can see how chunky they are. They've got this distinct pattern on the cap, and the only other mushroom that looks like this is the tuberous polypore. It doesn't really have a nickname other than that, tuberous polypore, and it's generally much smaller. I've never found one to grow quite this size. They're a little bit smaller than this at their maximum size, and they're a lot more flimsy. They don't have big, thick, chunky little stalks like these. They just have small ones. But they are also edible, so if you did mistake a tuberous polypore for a dryad saddle, then you'd be fine, because I eat the tuberous polypores just like I eat oyster mushrooms, and they're great. Oh yeah, and these have a really nice fresh smell. Some people say melon, but I would just say like cucumbery fresh mushroom kind of smell. I'm just sitting on the floor right now in a lovely little bluebell patch, listening to the birds and holding my trophy and admiring it. How English countryside girl of me to be doing such an activity. Some people say that I seem posh or that I sound posh. I'm definitely not posh. My vocabulary really varies, so like 1 minute I'm swearing non-stop, the next minute I'm talking in a weird accent, the next minute I'm trying to sound proper English. Like honestly, it just changes all the time. I don't know why. And this is my view right now. I might have just snuck in to the edge of a farm field just for the sake of showing you all the common hogweed that grows here. There's loads and loads and lots of variation in what the plants look like, so that's my excuse. Right, let's talk common hogweed. So this is a plant from the Apiaceae or umbellifer family, and it's an advanced family of plants to be foraging from. I don't really collect many from this family, just some hogweed shoots, that's about it really. But yeah, obviously everyone's main concern, and the reason that it's an advanced plant to forage is because of its toxic lookalike, the giant hogweed. The giant hogweed is nowhere near as common as the common hogweed. I've only seen it once. and obviously it grows to be much larger, but you can't necessarily rely on just the size alone for distinguishing the two plants, because you can get anomalies in nature. So you could get a common hogweed that grows a bit larger than usual, and if it was next to a giant hogweed that wasn't quite at maturity, then they could look around the same size and they could look very similar. So you really need to know all the individual characteristics of the common hogweed and make sure you tick them all off when you're deciding what plant you're looking at. Giant hogweed is considered toxic, but it's technically not poisonous, but it's considered toxic because it can cause really horrendous burns. And that's because it contains phototoxic properties, which means that when the affected area of skin receives sunlight, it burns really badly. And yeah, you can have that problem for up to 10 years potentially, until all the affected skin cells have been replaced. And you can only imagine what it would do if you got it into your eyes. So yes, it's a very dangerous plant. And it is also advised that you are a little bit cautious with this one, the common hogweed, as well, because the sap can cause irritation in some people. And you don't eat this plant raw, it needs to be cooked, by the way. But yeah, ideally you'd wear gloves when trimming the shoots or the stems, because the sap could have a reaction in some people. I have always been fine, but that's just to let you know. So I've just cut off 2 leaf stalks from 2 different plants just to show the variation in colour. This one is a very dark red purple, and it is a little bit splotchy on the back side. It's not like completely purple all the way through, so that's just something to be aware of, because obviously the poison hemlock and the giant hogweed have very distinct red wine kind of coloured splotchy bits, and yeah, it's a lot more distinct than this is. I think this is just a little bit speckly where it's changing colour. And this leaf stem is actually a bit more floppy, and it hasn't got the dark reddish purple on it. It's just green. The one on the left, the leaves look a lot more jagged, and giant hogweed leaves are very deeply lobed and jagged looking when they're massive. This one, the leaves are also deeply lobed, but the leaf edges are more rounded. So those are both common hogweed. When cut, you can see the leaf stems have a U or V-shaped cross section because they have this big groove, a bit like celery, running down the middle of the stem. Giant hogweed does not have this. Giant hogweed leaf stems are just hollow and rounded like a tube. Common hogweed stems do have little fine hairs, and giant hogweed stems also have little spiky hairs, but the common hogweed leaves have very fine hairs as well, like the stems, and it gives them a very soft, matte feel, whereas giant hogweed leaves are pretty smooth and more shiny. I can't show you right now because they're not out, but the flowering heads, which are umbels, so like think the shape of an umbrella, on the common hogweed they are a lot more delicate and much smaller than the giant hogweed flowering heads. The giant hogweed flowering heads are massive and heavy and densely packed with flowers, whereas the common hogweed they aren't so magnificent. The flowers on both plants are white, just for reference. But I will show them in future vlogs when I come across them. So you can chop up, cook and eat the stems like celery, for example, but I don't bother with that. I just collect the little shoots. So I take a couple from each plant. There's a couple that I've just collected from a couple of different plants. And there's the white sap coming out the base of the shoots that you just need to be aware of if you've got sensitive skin or any allergies. These are really tasty and they have a very unique flavour that you just have to try out for yourself. I can't really describe it, but yeah, it's delicious, and I just gently cook them in a pan with a little bit of water to heat them up, and then add in some butter and fry them off. I'm not going to demonstrate any cooking today because I just didn't bring the right equipment with me. And we are going to the Lake District in a couple of weeks, so we're going to be camping for a couple of nights over that period. So if I find some, then I'll definitely cook some up and I'll vlog it for you guys. This is the prettiest little lane ever, with the most cow parsley that I've ever seen. I remember my nan always used to be like, don't touch it. because a lot of people think it's dangerous, but it's actually not really. It might cause some skin sensitivity in some people, but generally it's all right. And it is edible, but obviously it's got that very poisonous lookalike called poison hemlock. There isn't any around here, so I can't show you. So I think I'll save that for the next video. I'll try and find some poison hemlock and then I'll do a comparison with cow parsley. Sorry, I know I've been totally slacking on the videos recently, but I have took on a couple of new jobs recently, so I haven't been very good at time management. I never have been good at time management, ever since the day I was born. It's a curse that runs in my family, being late and not managing your time very well. I blame my lineage. But yeah, I'm getting the hang of it, and I've got another free day coming up, so I can get out again and do another vlog. I can talk about cow parsley, maybe poison hemlock. I can't guarantee that I'll find some in my area, but there's definitely hemlock water dropwort that you might have seen in my recent shorts video, which is labelled as the UK's most poisonous plant, so I can include that as well.